everyone, here is our latest video update on the two cyclones here in the Western Pacific on this Monday afternoon, early evening. Still have Typhoon Praparun, and we now have Tropical Storm Maria, which is the 22nd cyclone named by the Japan Meteorological Agency, which is the official RSMC here in the Western Pacific. But first we begin with Typhoon Praparun, or Bagyo Nina, meandering here in the Philippine Sea, just southeast of Okinawa, lastly approximately 540 kilometers southeast of Japanese island, or about 980 kilometers east-northeast of Basco, Batanes. Maximum sustained winds have decreased slightly to 130 kilometers per hour with gusts of up to 185 kilometers per hour according to JMA. System has been nearly almost stationary in the past 24 hours. But it has been drifting southwestward very slowly, perhaps around 5 kilometers per hour or even less in the past 12 hours. And as you can see here in this latest visible image, the system does look pretty strong. Still look at typhoon strength. You can see the eye definitely much detailed here in the visible image. A very big eye at that, diameter of around 100 kilometers according to Joint Typhoon Warning Center. You can also see the system still looks very symmetrical. Again, well-established typhoon. It's still being supported by favorable or somewhat favorable conditions in this region. Still warm waters, and also you can see the poleward outflow and also the radial outflow actually all across the system is still pretty good. Now the microwave image, you can see here taking a snapshot of the structure of the system, and you can definitely see the eye of Praparun, well established, surrounded by deep convective banding. Has been weakening though, or at least in terms of the convective activity on the infrared image. System is showing signs of a little bit of weakening. We are seeing rapidly warming cloud tops, which is significantly warmer compared to say 6 to 12 hours ago. We no longer see the red returns, which would indicate cold cloud tops, but still the eye is still there, still very symmetrical looking. Satellite data still shows strong winds around the system, so still pretty much a typhoon, and will probably remain that way for at least another 3 or even 4 days. Now in terms of the effects here, the good news is the system has been drifting slowly southwestward, so the rains for Daito haven't been as significant as you were expecting before. They have been receiving winds of around 50 to even 60 kilometers per hour since this morning, and even some gusts of up to 100 kilometers per hour have already been recorded here. But again, the system is still pretty far from the region to really expect those stormy conditions. Now as for the forecast track, there has been some change here. Again, due to the slow movement of the system, you can see the computer models now taking this system. This are the forecasts for Praparun, and you can see most of them are now taking the system slowly to the west and then recurving it back to the northeast, still avoiding Okinawa for the most part. But as you've said before, Praparun may move between Okinawa and the Daito Islands in the next 2 to 3 days. And as you can see, still some uncertainties here, but the good news is that most computer models, and even with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center and the Japan Meteorological Agency, are now in pretty much close agreement in terms of the overall idea for the system. Now you can see the batch of lines here pointing something towards the Philippines. That is something of a concern, or at least some interest, as computer models are beginning to pick up on an idea of a cyclone formation the next week or so. We'll have more update on that later in our video. But going back to Praparun here, the official forecast beginning with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and again you can see them taking this system slightly westward and then turning it back to the north, perhaps passing very near the Daito Islands by Wednesday or Thursday as a typhoon. You can see Joint Typhoon Warning Center keeping this as a typhoon up to Thursday, before quickly recurving to the northeast, accelerating along the way and passing well south of the mainland Japanese islands, and could weaken to a tropical storm as we head into Thursday and Friday. Now the Japan Meteorological Agency, again, very consistent with this idea. You can see them taking Praparun generally southwestward over the next 6 hours or 12 hours, and then turning it westward, northwestward, and then eventually recurving the system back to the northeast. Again, passing between the islands of Okinawa and Daito, and will be passing east of Amami. Again, although the Japan Meteorological Agency has somewhat of a slower timing compared to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, expecting the system to meander in this region for at least another 4 days, whereas the Joint Typhoon Warning Center only expecting somewhere around 2 to 3 days in terms of the overall forecast timing for this system. But again, the idea still remains the system is still pretty much a big threat across parts of the Ryukyu. Again, much of the island still under forecast going from both JMA and also on JTWC. So in terms of the timing though, we expect those stormy conditions, if it does impact the islands, to begin right around Tuesday evening, lasting into Wednesday, or perhaps even into Thursday, depending on the speed of the system. But overall, a big threat here, not only with the winds and the rains, but definitely the high surf that will be propagating from the system all across Ryukyu and even into the islands of Kyushu, Shikoku, and even into southern Honshu as we move into the weekend. Now we move on quickly to the other tropical system, now severe tropical storm Maria, moving across the western Pacific, remaining west of the Marianas Islands, last located approximately 430 kilometers south of the island of Iwoto, Japan, here in the Ogasawara Islands, or about 930 kilometers northwest of Guam. Maximum sustained winds have increased significantly to 95 kilometers per hour with gusts of up to 130 kilometers per hour, according to JMA, again making the system a severe tropical storm. It is moving north-northeastward at 25 kilometers per hour. Now looking at the latest infrared image, doesn't seem much of a system here. There are some convective activity, although they are fragmented, pretty much weak in terms of the cold cloud tops, but satellite data does support the current wind intensity estimates from both JMA and Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Now the system is east of Typhoon Praparun. You can see here on the left side of this image, which is inhibiting development, but we expect the system to maintain its tropical storm intensity as it moves northward, perhaps passing near the Ogasawara Islands in the next 24 to 48 hours. Looking at the forecast here, beginning with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and again you can see them taking the system just west of Iwoto by say Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, and again by Wednesday, perhaps into Thursday and Friday. Expect the system to quickly recurve to the northeast around this subtropical ridge, which is anchored here over the northern Pacific. And finally we have the Japan Meteorological Agency, again taking nearly similar idea with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, showing a track generally northwestward and again recurving back to the northeast. Not going to be a big threat for mainland Japan, perhaps some big waves across Honshu, and perhaps some breezy conditions, but nothing major for this system. Before we end our video update, finally take a look at the Western Pacific, and again I want to mention the system that we've been hinting before. This is Invest 91W. This is still far away from the Western Pacific, and if you saw the computer model forecast before, actually back quickly to that forecast again, you can see the lines here from the GFS, the red line, the Canadian model, the pink line, and the green line, the Navy model, picking up on some sort of a cyclone development in the next 3 to 5 days, and we do think that is Invest 91W, and does seem to be pretty much in good agreement here of a track generally west-northwestward, perhaps aiming at the Philippines. Still very long ways to go here. Very low confidence right now. Still continuing to watch the system evolve. Still definitely in the early stages of development, so we still have time to tweak that forecast, but the chances are increasing of something coming out of this area, becoming perhaps a tropical storm as we move into this weekend, or perhaps early part of next week. Can't say that, not really that confident yet if it's gonna be impacting the Philippines. We'll definitely keep an eye out on the system, but for now, major news obviously is Typhoon Praparan here, which continues to meander in this region. Will probably continue affecting the Ryukyus in the next 2 to 3 days. Stay safe, guys.